What's up, everybody? I have been playing Final Fantasy IX finally. This has been a game that I just haven't gotten around to ever. I'm so happy that I finally get to play it. It is a lot of people's favorite Final Fantasy. I'm going to tell you about how I feel about the game. This is going to be a 4-part review series. About every 10 hours, I'm going to be giving a new part of the review. It takes about 40 hours to complete. So this is going to be my first part. I'm about 8 to 10 hours in, and I got a lot to say. First off, I'm going to talk about some weird things in the game, like Zidane, the main character. He's just a weird guy. He's kind of a womanizer, and he looks weird. He looks like this weird 90s long-haired Brad Pitt looking dude with like a corset on. It's just a weird thing. At about 8 to 10 hours in, I'm still not fully familiar with equipping abilities, getting fire, getting thunder. I understand how to do it. I understand that it is through your equipment and your armor sets, like your gloves and your hat and your chest piece, all of those things, but I just don't really like it right now. It's not the first thing that comes to mind every time I go to set up my characters, equip different weapons, things like that. It's always an afterthought. I always get into a big fight and I'm like, oh shit, I should check my abilities. There's always a bunch of stuff that I haven't done, so hopefully within the next 30 hours of this game, that's something that I get familiar with. Now, talking about some things that I really like is just the fact that the character models look so good. Coming from someone that's played Final Fantasy VII like 10 times, the character models, the game just looks stellar compared to Final Fantasy VII, something that I really like. I think it even looks a lot better than Final Fantasy VIII in my opinion. I am playing this on the Switch, so it looks fantastic the way it is on that. A lot on handheld mode too. I'm playing a lot on the handheld mode screen, and I really enjoy the way everything looks. All the characters are really nice and crystal clear, which is nice for a Final Fantasy game. Revisiting these new games on newer consoles is always nice because you have these PlayStation memories. You plug in your old PlayStation, the game looks fucking ugly as hell, but when you're playing them on the new consoles, it looks great. Final Fantasy IX for Switch is no different. Once again, the character models, Princess Garnet looks great, Vivi looks great, Steiner looks great, Freya looks great. I love all the enemies. Everything looks really good so far. The world is really good as well. The queen, the bad guys, the mages that you're going around fighting, the black wolves at the beginning of the game that you're fighting, the 3 Volt mages are fucking so cool. They're practically, if you've seen the character Vivi, they're big black mages with huge wings on their back, and they're just badass. I really enjoy those enemies so far. Now, something I really like about this game, talking about the universe and the story, is just the fact that it's really heavy in fantasy, which Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy 15, they're much more technology based, where 14, 12, 10, they're all very high-end fantasy stories with this fantasy setting. This is a very old school fantasy setting, which I really like. People are in old school armor. We got the old mage look. We got people in corsets, you know, we have castles, and it very much feels like a fantasy game, and I really enjoy that aspect so far. Now, talking about the combat and the gameplay, I think this is where the game really excels. Even though I don't like how you equip the abilities, I really like the fighting play style. It's on like a active timer. It is still turn-based, but you are able to combine abilities like Steiner and Vivi at the beginning. Freya's jump attack is OP. I love how Princess Garnet has like all the summons right away. That is something that's really cool. It really lays out how you're supposed to play the game at the very beginning in this first 10 hours that I really appreciate. And most of all, the fighting, the whole combat system just feels polished. And you can tell because this is the last Final Fantasy game of the PlayStation era, and they just really nailed it. And you can feel that playing the game from the characters, the setting, the combat, and even the mini games. Let's talk about the mini games real quick. One of the mini games I want to talk about is a play that you get to experience and act out at the beginning of the game. And there's a bunch of quick time button events, and you get to redo it if you feel like you didn't get to do it well enough. And it was something that I just really liked. It was a mini game that was quick. It wasn't in your face. You got to do it better if you want to, and it didn't really connect to any type of big achievement or ability that you unlocked, like in Final Fantasy VII, if you wanted to Cloud's limit breaker early, his final limit breaker early, you had to go through a whole battle arena in the Golden Saucer, and And this first minigame is just pleasant because it just doesn't seem intrusive, and the other games that I've gotten to play later in the game also don't seem very intrusive, and hopefully that doesn't change. Hopefully the minigames still seem very exciting. One of my favorite minigames is the highway escape in Midgar on Final Fantasy VII, you know, so that is something that I made sure I got the highest score I could, so I really enjoy the minigame so far. But all in all, the first 10 hours of Final Fantasy IX are going awesome. I understand why this is a lot of people's favorite Final Fantasy. I can't wait to play more. I can't wait to give you guys the second part of this review. Stay tuned. Hopefully I'll have it up by the end of next week. We can experience Final Fantasy IX again together, so you guys could see my reaction. Maybe if I get to the bigger boss battles at the end, I could actually record my reactions to the ending, things like that. So thanks. Like, comment, subscribe. I really appreciate it. Final Fantasy fanboys and fangirls. See you later. Out.